hi guys. Do you have your books in front of you? Your independent reading books? Awesome. So, something I was thinking about recently, and I've been talking with some of you about sometimes when you get to our books like this, it gets longer, right? You have longer books. They're no longer just 2 pages, right? Like Kinder and Verse, like there's a lot more. And something, I'm not sure about this happens to you, but do you sometimes read things and you're kind of like, at the end, you're like, what just happened? And you're at the end of the story, and you're like, ugh, right? So I'm going to show you one way to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Because my story's long. How long is your story? It's a couple of pages. That's long, right? That's a lot of pages. Yours is a lot long too. So I'm going to show you really quickly. So what readers often do is that after they read a page or two, they ask themselves what's happened so far. I'm going to show you what I mean, okay? I'm going to read this really quickly and show you what I mean. So this is Stephanie's ponytail. Do you know this story? Okay, Stephanie's ponytail. So, one second. So ideally, this would be a book that I've already read with the kids, right? But in this case, it's not. Okay, so one day Stephanie went to her mom and said, none of the kids of my class have a ponytail. I want a nice ponytail coming out the back. So Stephanie's mom gave her a nice ponytail coming right out the back. When Stephanie went to school, the other kids looked at her and said, ugly, ugly, ugly. Stephanie said, it's my ponytail and I like it. Okay, so what's happened so far? So I'm going to think to myself. Okay, so Stephanie's mom, Stephanie went to her mom and said, I want a ponytail at the back of my head. She went to school, the kid said, ugly, and she said, it's my ponytail and I like it. All right? Okay. So the next morning when Stephanie went to school, all the other girls had ponytails coming out the back. Stephanie looked at them and said, you are a bunch of brainless copycats. You do whatever I do, you don't have a brain in your heads. Okay, so what's happened so far? Wait a second. I can't just tell you what happened here. I need to go back to the beginning. So far, Stephanie goes to her mom and says, what? She wants a ponytail at the back of her head. She goes to school, they say, ugly. And she's like, no, it's my ponytail. Then the next day, the kids come back and they're like, they all have a ponytail too. They copied her. So I'm going to keep on going. So every time I stop, I need to go back to the beginning to say my retell. I can't just say, because sometimes I forget what happens at the beginning, right? So I'm always going back. Okay? So right now you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to read you're going to read one page. You're going to retell it to yourself. You're going to read another page. Then you're going to go back to the retell that one and then add the second one. You're going to keep on going, okay? Be ready in 2 minutes because you're going to practice. You're going to share it with your friends. What's your name, my friend? Jose Javier. I'm going to say, Jose Javier, this is my story, Stephanie's ponytail. I'm going to tell you what happens. In the beginning, no. You all set? You know what to do? Take 2 minutes. Go. Start doing it. Okay, so I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to confer with other kids at the moment. So turn and talk to your friends and just tell them what's happened so far. Go. Okay. So awesome. So what did we? Awesome. You guys are done. What did we learn about when we read our books?
That we can go back.
Yeah. And when we retell, we always have to retell from the beginning. You can't just say, so Stephanie's ponytail is all about like the kids copied at the end. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
It's like when you go back, you can remember.
Awesome. So we're going to do some reading today. And we're going to read a story called The Dog's Life. Okay. So at this point, as a reader, you probably already know what to do in order to get your heads ready before you read the story. What's one thing we do? Just say it out to everyone else. And how do you do that? Do you just kind of go, oh, I think this is what's going to happen? Okay, do what you need to do. You know what to do. So in a minute or two, I'm going to ask you what your prediction is of this story. Okay? Okay. So, what's a prediction? Think about your prediction. Practice in your head what your prediction will be. I predict that, and then you say blah, 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 and you say because, blah, 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 blah. I predict that. Okay? So think about what you're going to tell your partner, because you're going to tell your partner. You're not going to tell me. It's just obvious. You're going to sit next to Nicolas and Matias, and then Maya and Santiago. You're going to talk together. Is that okay? You're going to talk and say what your prediction is. Okay? Go for it.
The dog is going to my prediction is that the dog wants me to be happy and have a family because it's so happy.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is when you're reading your story, I'm going to give you a Post-it. The reason why I gave you your pencil is to do this. This is a chapter book, so we're just going to read the first chapter because it's a bit long. And I want you, the main character I'm going to tell you right now is the dog, obviously, right? Because it's my dog's life. And while you're reading it, I want you to start writing things you learn about the dog. What are some things you learn about him? It's a him, first of all, that's the first thing. And you're going to just write all these things down. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. Okay, so you might have to write on the other side. You might like, oh, I learned that, the dog likes to eat pizza. I learned all these things that you think are important to learn about the dog. Okay? And at the same time, I'm going to coming to you and asking you to read a little louder to me, just to hear you read. Okay? And don't be surprised if I ask you questions. Okay? So, my last thing is, if you are finished, reread the same chapter, because you might get some more insight. You might learn some more things. You just read the first 4 pages. You stop at chapter 2. Okay. So can you go ahead?
I stuck my nose in there and breathe deeply. I said. The air was fresh. Green leaves were sprouting on the tree branches. Animals were running about. It was friendly.
Okay, good. So what have you learned so far about the character?
That he likes spring.
You think he's happy? Just by the sound of it? Okay, write that down. Good. Talk to me, read to me a little bit. Where are you right now? Actually? Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Animals were running about. It was
Good, that's good. Awesome. I like how you right there, you kind of really sanded it out. It's a hard word. What do you think the word splendid might mean?
Beautiful?
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day, right? And how did you figure out the word splendid? What did you do?
I think that was splendid.
Keep it up, okay? So I'm gonna keep on reading. Thanks. Excuse me, sorry. Where are you? Can you read a little to me? Then I realized. Okay, good. So I really liked how I can see that you're really thinking about what you're reading, like you're really slowing down and thinking about it. Something else I'm going to ask you and give you a suggestion really quickly. So when some tough words come along, go reread it. Okay, to make it sound like, I'm going to show you really quickly. So, because there's some really tough words on this page. Then I realized that, sorry, there you go. Then I realized there might be another possibility. So for me, I'm not really getting the meaning of that sentence, so I need to go back and reread it. So then I realized there might be another possibility. Okay, so do the same thing, okay? So when there's times when you need to slow down, which is a smart thing to do, you also need to go back and reread it, okay? Thanks. Okay, so read to me. Yeah, why is he sad?
Because he had me kicked out.
Okay, why? Why do you think he was kicked out?
Maybe because he didn't last he
So where does it say he's kicked out? Where does it say that? Ah, okay. Okay, so why would he do that?
because he might distracted and
Good. Keep on reading. Go. Thanks. Okay. Good. Keep on going. Okay. Let's stop for 1 second, because I know that we're still reading. But did we at least read pages 2 and 3? We read the first 2 pages, right? Okay. So let's look at get your Post-it. Take a second to finish writing your Post-it. And think about what have you learned about this character so far. Just think about it. Okay. What have you learned about him? Okay. And start practicing in your head what you might tell your partner. What is he like? So what have you learned about the character is my question. say, I have learned this, da 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 da, and give the example, what you wrote in your post-it. And really talk about it for a minute or two, and then we'll have a larger conversation. Santi, you good? You okay, Santiago? Okay, so whenever you're ready, just turn and talk to your partner and talk to them.
I learned that he started
And sorry, Nicolas, so just based on what he was talking about, do you agree or disagree? Because? Just tell him, not me. Okay, what did you guys talk about? What's one thing that you learned about? Okay. Okay, what else did you learn? Santiago, do you agree with him, or disagree? Because? Okay, where does it say that? Can you show me? Okay. Okay. How about on page 2 and 3? What have we learned about from page 2 and 3? Oh, that's interesting, right? Think about that. Maybe you want to add that to your post-its. Okay. Okay, let's have a larger conversation. What are some things we learned? Santiago, what's one thing that we learned that you discussed with Mia? Talk to your friends. Talk to me. Do we agree or disagree with the conversation? That point. Because? Say that a little bit louder, because I don't think we can hear that. Yeah? Say that to them, not to me. Say it louder. You're right. What do you think of that, what she just said? Is he a dog, or is he a wolf?
I am alone.
Oh, right. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, that's actually interesting, because a wolf is a part of a dog. It's in the family, right? But it's a different type of dog, right? We don't want to have them as our pet, right? It's kind of scary, right? Sometimes dogs look like wolves, but we don't want that. So we've learned so far that dogs are wolves, right? But this is a special one. We also learned that, that it's alone, is it? Or they're scared? What was it again, Santiago? Sorry. Okay, so based on that, what is his name again? He doesn't have a name yet, does he? What is the wolf like? That's a big question. What is he like? Not what does he like. Just think about it. I'm going to give you an example really quickly. If I ask you what does Miss Amber like, what would you probably say? Oh yeah, she likes coffee, right? Yeah, she probably likes kids. Yeah. She likes salad. Does she like salad? Okay, good. Okay, if I ask you what is Miss Amber like, what might you say? Awesome. What else? Okay, good. So based on just on the 2 pages, think about this right with your partner. What is the wolf like? Just think about it. Not what does he like, but what is he like? Just talk to the people next to you. What is he like? Because? Good. Okay, good. So, what is he like? Because? How do we know that? Yeah. Would you be lonely too? Yes. So, yeah. What else? I think so. So, I'm going to teach you a really easy, quick word before we leave. What we just talked about were something called character traits. Ooh, it's a big word, I know. And when we talk about character traits, we talk about what's inside us that we cannot see, right? So Miss Amber is caring. You can't see that, right? It's by her actions. She is also very friendly. You can't see friendliness. It's how she acts, right? So it's all about this. Okay? So we're going to continue reading this next time. We're going to keep on talking about what is this wolf like. Okay, is that cool? Awesome.